Another pre-season. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling really good. So, 15th pre-season. So it's certainly gone quick to get to this stage. But I suppose as you get older, you become a little bit smarter in the way you approach training, but certainly not taking the foot off. But it's always good to come back and run with the group after running by yourself for 3 months.
Post-season surgeries or anything like you modifying?
No, I was really lucky actually. So nothing for me. We had a few guys go in this year, so I'm one of probably 15 or 20 that are actually training at the moment.
How do they handle you at your age? Are you a little bit modified or?
No, not really. I think over my whole career I've been able to do at least 95% of pre-season. So my body actually probably enjoys the training, and but Misso and the medical staff are probably open if I did have something to modify me. But at the moment it's pretty much do the program as is.
Is there a thought entering your mind that this could be the last pre-season that you sort of go through?
Yeah, I think you've got to be realistic in that sense, and it is the last year on my deal, and as a 32-year-old, you really need to perform to stay in the AFL system. So I'd be kidding myself if I didn't approach it that way, and certainly the way I'm training, the way I'm preparing for next year, I certainly want to give it everything, and it could be my last year.
You hinted at it a little bit, but does it change? You're making sure you're doing all the 1%ers, absolutely just thinking that you want to be at your best and earn another deal?
Yeah, I think so. I think, going in and maybe mentally saying this may be my last year if I don't do everything right, and then getting to the end of the season and it all finishing, you go, oh, what about if I did change one little thing? So certainly my approach to the pre-season and season is what can I do differently and what can I improve on? And I think that attitude will hopefully hold me in good stead for the season.
At what point do you have a conversation with, say, Goody about, when are we going to start talking about it? What do I need to do?
Yeah, I've already had conversations, with him, and that was probably a little bit part of my exit interview was saying that let's see what happens next year, and I don't want to be treated anything differently to a young kid. If you're not, I suppose, performing at AFL level, then you go back and play reserves and try and work your way back in, as we saw Bernie do this year. And so I think you be realistic, you have open conversations with the coach, and we're both mature about it, both understanding of where I'm at in my career, and I think that's the best way to deal with it. If you play well, you stay in the side. If you don't, well, then you find yourself in the reserves.
There's going to be competition for spots, obviously, as well, with Jaden Hunt coming back from injury and Cade Colajasny obviously coming into the team. So you're obviously really aware of that. Yeah,
absolutely, and everyone's aware of that. It's not just the older players; it's the younger players. If they're not performing well, they go back, and that's, I suppose, the advantage of having a side that bats pretty deep is our guys that played VFL last year really got an opportunity, and so you've got to play well to stay in the side. So that's probably the motivating factor.
How's the group look back, on the prelim at all?
No, we haven't. We haven't reviewed it or anything like that. The coaches certainly did, and I think our review of the season was more holistic on the season and the finals campaign. And certainly, from a playing point of view, you're still hurting. It's probably still too raw to go back and watch it, but hopefully the players learnt something along the way. And but we won't. I don't think we'll sit down and address it as a side. The coaches certainly have dissected it.
Has there been discussion amongst the playing group, just sort of one-on-one chats with your mates about how you feel about that prelim? Does it still feel like it's sort of lingering in the back of your mind?
Yeah, it was disappointing. There's no doubt about that. But we can't sit here and sit down and watch the tape. And all throughout the season we learnt some really big lessons. And I suppose the lesson in that was, we're playing some really good football, and for whatever reason, we still can't put our finger on it. We had a really bad day, and from an individual point of view, from a team point of view, all the players were disappointed. But we need to understand that we had 2 really good games leading up to that. We hadn't played finals for 12 years. So I think in whole, it was a really good season.
And do you think you might not actually be able to know whether you can address that prelim until you're there again?
It's hard to tell. Both our finals leading up to that, we probably didn't play our best football against Hawthorn, but we managed to win. We didn't play our best football against West Coast, but we couldn't find another way to get ourselves going. So maybe that's the lesson in that. But yeah, certainly we're not looking back at that as as motivation or anything like that. We want to move forward. We want to play well and attack the pre-season like it's a really good opportunity for us next year.
Do you personally sort of give advice to teammates about how to get over a finals loss like that?
Yeah, I've been involved in a few, unfortunately. It is, probably from an individual point of view, you need to use that as motivation because you're always searching on reasons to play well, and the hurt will still be there when the season comes around. But certainly understanding that games throughout the year can impact in the way that we make top four or finish off the season and maybe give ourselves a home final chance. So understanding that every week is an important part of our puzzle.
How difficult is it when you have one of your poorer games for the year and it happens to be the last game? You've got a lot of time to...
And I suppose being an experienced player, you can forget about it a little easier than a younger player, I suppose. And that's the beauty about football. If you have a bad game, you can back it up next week and try and perform. And me and a lot of my teammates certainly didn't perform the way that we did over there. And that's the unfortunate part. We don't get another opportunity to attack that until the season starts.
Post game after the prelim, I remember on 360 specifically, you and Robbo discussing your performance and people, I guess, externally talking about it. Has that stayed with you? Has it given you an extra chip on your shoulder almost this pre-season?
No, not at all. I think what you understand is, as a player, when you don't perform, the criticism will come. That is what it is. And certainly when the season rolls around again and we get an opportunity to perform, and if you perform, people will pat you on the back. If you don't, well, then they'll criticise you and dissect your game. That's just part of the game, I think.
Jack Lever's having a frustrating run, can't get on the track. For him, obviously just an issue with the scar, more so than the knee, just frustrating.
Yeah, I think from all reports, surgery went well, but he just went in today to clean up a little bit around that knee. So, it can become a little bit frustrating for him because he obviously wants to get the ball rolling and join back into the main group. But from all reports, he'll be back on Monday and straight back into his rehab.
Have you had any advice for Ruffy? He's made a big call at Hawthorn to step away from the captaincy.
I've been in conversations with Ruffy probably throughout the year, and I think your perspective changes when you get a young family, and I don't think, unless you have been a captain of a football club, you don't really understand how much time it actually consumes of your life. So he's in a position now where he's got a young family, he's got, similar to me, 1 year left on his contract, so he wants to put all his energy on trying to play well for the team, and I think when he took over the captaincy, it was a really brave decision coming back from what he did, and I think he's done a tremendous job.
Speaking of the captaincy at your club, the leadership model with the two captains, is that something do you sort of foresee going forward, or do you think Jack could take over permanently as the sole captain?
Yeah, I think the feeling I get from Goody is it will probably continue along that path. Certainly we have our leadership vote in February, and Goody was pretty strong on having dual captains for however long he wants to do that, and he hasn't sort of signalled to us that he wants to change that. So, I would imagine it will probably stay the same.
Do you have a tip on the Hawks captaincy?
No, I don't. I think the two players that have probably been thrown up in Shields and Smith would probably be the two front runners.
And Strats?
Yeah, he would be one that if it was up to him and he wanted to do it, he could be up there, but I think he's probably the kind of guy that would probably want to take a step back and enjoy the leadership position without being captain.
Yeah. And just one final one on the Hawks. You've been through a lot of pre-seasons where you're coming off a flag, so there must be a certain buzz about coming back to pre-season in those circumstances. How does the group feel coming off what was really a terrific year all up, but with a really disappointing end? How does the group compare to out at Waverley after those premiership years?
Yeah, I think the best groups tend to move on quicker than maybe a younger side that would want to dwell on that. So I think from the feeling that I'm getting at this club, we've moved on. So that's, I think, a really good position to be in. And, we're motivated as ever. We understand that next year's not going to be easy. We've still got to play our best football. And I think the feeling I get from the younger boys coming back is that they're motivated and ready to work.
And how conscious are you of the media discussion around this year being the year you win the flag?
Oh, it's part of it. It's part of your role, I think. As a leader of the football club, it's bringing guys up when they're down, but understanding that when there's noise around the football community, is making sure that everyone's not reading all of it and understanding all of it, and to keep ourselves level-headed, because we we're not stupid. We've been around the game a long time. We understand that there's a long season to be played out.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.